Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's the right time to start today's discussion. Yeah, I just would like to ask you to mute your microphone. You can keep your cameras on, and I would ask you to do that in order to have nice pictures, screenshots of this event. So you're welcome to keep your cameras on and microphones muted. So again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jordan Bujil, President of Sofia Security Forum. Welcome to this online event dedicated to the future of the Eastern Partnership. The event is co-organized by Sofia Security Forum, the Embassy of Georgia, the Embassy of the Republic of Moldova, and the Embassy of Ukraine. The Eastern Partnership was launched in 2009 as a specific dimension to the European neighborhood policy, with the main purpose of strengthening the political and economic relations between the EU and 6 partner countries: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine. And the main goal was to bring actually the EU and the partner countries more closely together based on mutual interests and shared values. With perspective of potential EU membership of these countries, of course. In just a week time from now, the 6th Eastern Partnership Summit will be held, and I think this is a very good opportunity to take stock of the goals and achievements of this initiative. We have to recognize that many opportunities for cooperation were opened through the Eastern Partnership, and the EU and the partner countries took advantage of this, of course, to the extent they were willing to do so. And looking towards the upcoming summit, I think it is already known that there will be one missing country. It's Belarus, which suspended earlier this year its participation in the initiative. On the other hand, we have Armenia and Azerbaijan, which relations are extremely tense. And we have clear, let's say, front runners in the integration process. It's Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine, which express clear commitments and desire to further strengthening the cooperation with the European Union. And I personally believe that the EU has to formally accept the associated trio initiative and move faster towards deeper cooperation and integration of these 3 countries. To my mind, it is a time for a reassessment of the Eastern Partnership, and to analyze the positives and shortfalls of the initiative. Currently, EU strategic compass process is going on with the aim of presenting a vision of European Union security and defense. And if EU wants to be a global player, it has to develop clear policies and elaborate effective mechanism for cooperation with partners, but also mechanism for problem solving, conflict resolution in the regions which are close to EU borders, but also beyond. So my point is that the reassessment of the Eastern Partnership shall also be done through the prism of EU strategic compass. And I think that today's event is a very good opportunity to discuss the merits of the Eastern Partnership, what the opportunities for its further developments are, how to better structure it, and of course to discuss more broadly what the EU shall play in the vicinity of its eastern borders. In other words, as we put it into agenda, what and how the renewed agenda of the Eastern Partnership should look like. To take part in this discussion, we invited representatives from the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of Georgia, of the Republic of Moldova, Ukraine, and Bulgaria. And they will make initial presentations, as we agreed, between 7 and 8 minutes each. And after all presentations, I will open the floor for questions and comments from the audience. And you can ask, and I invite you to ask questions and make comments. You can do this directly. Just signal me using a virtual hand. You have this option in the lower right corner of the screen, or you can type the question and comments in the chat box, so speakers will see that. Again, please mute your microphones and keep your cameras on, please. So with that introductory remarks, I would like to invite our speakers, and first in my list is Ms. Salome Kidze, Director General for European Integration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Georgia. Madam, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and very warm greetings from Tbilisi. And first of all, let me thank the organizers, of course, the Embassy of Georgia to Bulgaria, respectively of Ukraine and Moldova as well, and the Sofia Security Forum, and of course its president, Mr. Borjulov. Thank you very much for your kind moderation and discussion today. And this is very timely because, as you mentioned, less in a week's time, a long-awaited summit is taking place in Brussels, and maybe just to credit the partnership, now 11 years, but actually 12 years on, many positive things have taken place in the partnership, and that stands clear for Georgia at least, and whereby the distance shrank significantly. There is more EU presence in Georgia. Political ties are much deeper, and certainly the partnership as a whole gave the possibilities to the partners to get closer, and the ones who wanted to get closer have done so based on their national interest. And again, for Georgia, the partnership was indeed a game changer, which translated into the closest bilateral relations with the EU, becoming an associated partner with a free trade, with a visa-free for its citizens, etc. But at the same time, as you have mentioned, we also observe less positive developments in the region. And with the recent Belarus decision to cease its participation in the Eastern Partnership, or the war and the conflict between the two partners, and the very fresh what's happening now on the eastern borders of Ukraine. And I'm not talking here about the occupation of Georgia or de facto annexation of Georgia, or annexation of Crimea, what's happening now in Transnistria. It's obvious, and we're all witnessing that the foothold of Russia is increasing and has already increased. And if some have mentioned, and some were underlining, that the Eastern Partnership was not a geopolitical project, unfortunately, among others, these developments have proved this assumption very wrong. And also, we have not had a summit for 4 years due to objective or subjective reasons. Therefore, the upcoming summit has critical importance, and in terms of delivering of politically strong, substantial and forward-looking joint declaration. So many eyes are fixed now on the summit, and somehow there is this feeling, as you have mentioned, that the partnership has to deliver. Either it manages to remain adequate to the circumstances, or it could lose the momentum. And of course, we hope that the former will prevail, and certainly that is in Georgia's interest. And we do hope also that the summit reconfirms the strategic importance of the partnership, and it will underline that it is a sovereign right of the Eastern European partners to shape the breadth and depth of their relations with the EU, that the EU stands behind the European aspirations and European choice of the associated countries, and firmly upholds the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Eastern partners within the internationally recognized borders. That's a red line for us. And at the same time, it is no less important that the summit also offers a motivational perspective as well. And as a next big benchmark, the summit should open more opportunities for gradual and maximum possible integration into the EU single market for the interested partners. And this is even more important, having in mind that the associated partners, we do not have the clear European perspective from the European Union. And we all know that this partnership unites the partners with different agendas, with different ambitions. And in order to achieve an adequately optimal policy, I think it's very important to further boost the differentiation along with inclusivity. And grouping naturally, forming associated trio was for us a kind of a compensation of what the Eastern Partnership and its common denominator could not give us, and which is focusing more on implementation of the association agreement, the CFTAs, that we consider as an instrument to advance towards the EU membership. And the very fact that actually today we're among friends and that we're having discussions with the associated trio, Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine, and EU member states, Bulgaria, is not accidental, of course, because these are the three associated partners which are having the same European aspirations and the choice which is backed by our citizens. And we hope someday to become members of EU, and hopefully sooner than later, of course. And the three of us were having association agreements, DCFTAs. And it's important to have in mind that these are the guiding complex reforming agendas for us. But we are also working together on the Eastern Partnership. As you know, that the drafting process is in the pipeline. We're all together working on the joint summit declaration, and the three of us were positioning together jointly on important points and important paragraphs of the joint declaration. But also, in addition to the political declaration of the summit, it is expected that the summit will adopt also agenda beyond 2020 that would be the priorities of more practical or more technical character or more technical nature, but no less important, of course. And we hope to see the very important initiatives for us, which we have been communicating with the EU in the consultation process for 2 years, such as, for example, roaming, SEPA, job shadowing scheme, connectivities, as well as the milestones towards accountable institutions, rule of law, security. All of these would be bringing, of course, tangible and practical results for our citizens. And maybe I'll stop here. And of course, I look forward to very interesting discussions today, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions later on. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Kidze, for your introductory remarks. I fully agree with you that we have to keep this partnership relevant to the evolving environment, including security environment in the region. And of course, we shall not avoid putting into agenda hot issues. And of course, we all look for even closer cooperation between EU and the associated trio countries. So thank you very much for your remark. Now I would like to invite Ms. Daniela Kushba, who is Director General of the European Integration Directorate, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and European Integration of the Republic of Moldova. Please, madam, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning from Chisinau to all of you. Let me gladly join Salome in expressing our appreciations for you, Mr. Bajilov, the Security Forum, and of course all our colleagues from the embassies, trio embassies in Sofia, for taking the initiative to organize this discussion. which I'm indeed happily joining from Chisinau. I would apologize if you may hear some noises, but it seems that we're having some citizens expressing some of their views really in front of the ministry. So we cannot influence what is happening outside, but let's hope it will not interfere too much while I will be speaking. Well, let me indeed briefly point also the perspective of the Republic of Moldova on the current state of play concerning the Eastern Partnership, also with the perspective of the next week summit, which we are really looking forward. As Salome mentioned, it's already 4 years since the previous summit, and we are eager to have this meeting with physical presence of our leaders, heads of states and governments, and pave the way to the next stage of our cooperation within this initiative. Republic of Moldova considers Eastern Partnership a successful initiative. It managed to create solid parameters for Eastern partners' development, but also for the rapprochement with the EU by establishing some quite ambitious targets to be achieved, but also providing assistance and relevant instruments for the partners together with EU member states and the European institutions to meet those ambitious targets and pursue the reform processes. And because, again, we all believe and we all want this success to be a sustainable one, we pledge so firmly for keeping Eastern Partnership at least as ambitious in setting new post-2020 or maybe already 21 objectives as it was designed in 2009. Ambition to us means a strategic approach in choosing targets, but also a visionary approach in making the partnership fit to follow the new trends and face the ever-increasing challenges. Our track record as Eastern partners, but also the track record of the whole Eastern Partnership shows that such objectives established with this approach in mind can really bring positive changes to our societies and to the entire region. Visa-free regimes and making best use of DCFTA by following gradual integration into the EU internal market are a clear testimony to this. So what we propose in our bilateral discussions, but also together with Georgian and Ukrainian colleagues, is to identify new important objectives and weave them into the fabric of the post-2021 Eastern Partnership cooperation at the next week summit. Rome like at home or gradual integration into the digital market of the European Union have, in our view, a good perspective to become such key strategic and ambitious targets. Back in 2009, Eastern Partnership was laid down on a set of principles, among which is a differentiation. And it is exactly with the same spirit in mind that we have conceptualized and are promoting, together with Georgia and Ukraine, the application of the differentiation principle in the multilateral dimension of the Eastern Partnership. That's why we believe that the three of associated countries extended to other sector of cooperation with the European Union beyond the DCFTA is fully compatible with the inclusivity of the Eastern Partnership. While offering to the most ambitious and prepared to advance on the road of cooperation with the EU, this format of interaction is definitely seen as an open one and that could be joined at any time by other Eastern partners. We have also presented and discussing while negotiating the joint declaration of the summit together with all Eastern partners and the EU institution, number of proposals to consolidate our cooperation. Some of them are also touching the area of cyber and hybrid cooperation. We believe that enhanced cooperation with EU in countering hybrid threats, cyber attacks, or even crime will help Eastern partners to become a much stronger partner for the European Union, for the whole international community in this joint endeavor to deter this negative phenomenon. And the same goes for disinformation. The high-level dialogue on energy security that Moldova launched with the EU on the margins of the EU-Moldova Association Council in October will be of great help and advice for us in providing guidance on advancing and gradual integration into the European energy system. And at the same time, we believe that there is good scope for an enhanced cooperation also in the multilateral dimension of the Eastern Partnership in the energy sector. Values, human rights, rule of law, democracy, these are unwavering fundamentals. Upholding them is and has to stay as one of the core objectives of the Eastern Partnership. We will definitely support and welcome any assistance the Eastern Partnership can offer to us, both bilaterally and in the multilateral framework, in support of reforms we are committed to achieve in this sense. So, as we all know, we live in a very much interconnected and interdependent world. Being at the youth border and sharing the same neighborhood makes us an intrinsic part of each other's realities. You are aware of our European integration aspirations and the way we place European integration at the cornerstone of our national reform process, as we are aware of some of the particularities of the EU internal processes. At the same time, we believe that we can find together new venues of enhanced cooperation that will help us achieve the objective of gradual integration into the EU internal market as provided by the association agreement, while going beyond and opening new chapters of interaction that will make us even more connected to the EU policies launched to cater with these new challenges and with new realities that were not on our agenda 10 years ago when the Eastern Partnership was launched, or even 11, and when the association agreements were started to be negotiated and then implemented. And those areas are digital transformation, Green Deal, health cooperation, and some others as well. The Eastern Partnership Summit in December will be an important milestone for that, and it will depend on all of us to make it as such. Thank you for your attention. I'm looking forward to continue our discussions after all presentations will be made.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Kurzba. I think that we shall all welcome the desire of the trio to be even more ambitious in the integration process of the European Union, and I fully agree with you that we shall identify new objectives for the Eastern Partnership, and I really look forward to seeing what will be the decisions of the summit, or at least the way which will be paved for the future cooperation. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Roman Andarak, Deputy Director of EU and NATO and Head of Union for Political Cooperation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, for his initial remarks. So please, Mr. Andarak, floor is yours.
Good morning, colleagues. First of all, I would like also to join Salome and Daniela in expressing my gratitude for the interest towards our expectations from Eastern Partnership Summit, from our cooperation with the EU. I believe that this discussion is very timely and very relevant in delivering our messages and our wishes. I would like to also apologize for Marina Mikhailenko, who my Director General, who is traveling right now and is in the plane. So I know she would love to join this discussion on her side. Then I would like also to express gratitude and use this opportunity to Bulgarian support of territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine. Most recently, it was voiced by the Minister Stoyev in 28th Ministerial OSCE conference. We also appreciate very much Bulgarian participation in the inaugural summit of Crimean platform, which we believe is key, one of the key tools for deoccupation of Crimea and restoration of Ukrainian territory within its full recognized border. I would briefly inform you about what are the current relations with the European Union, and then process with our expectation from Eastern Partnership. And here I'm in a very lucky position because My colleagues Salome and Daniela described those very comprehensively, I would say. So I have only a few remarks to add. So in Ukraine, the European integration and rapprochement with the European Union remain enjoyed the support of the vast majority of the population. So far, we record around 54% of support, of strong support for the European integration. So our expectations, our requests to the EU, they are not driven by our policy making, but really by the society. On this path, we indeed remain on the implementation of the association agreement, on structural reforms, on reform of the security sector and restoration of the rule of law. We are engaged in quite intensive dialogue with the EU. On 12th October, we had a bilateral summit, which marked several very important decisions. One of them, for example, is to review achievements of the association agreement and of the achievement of the goal of the association agreement, to expedite liberalization of custom duties, and to proceed, for example, with our integration efforts on technical regulation, on access or joining the European Green Deal, digital transformation, and so forth. We also signed, finally, after several years of impatiently waiting, the Common Aviation Area Agreement. And to show you, or just to give you an example of this public request for European integration or for strengthening our context, Wizz Air opened or announced opening 25 new flights the next day after signature of the Common Aviation Agreement. So there is a lot of potential in our relations with the EU, and this potential is indeed is part of the Eastern Partnership Initiative as such. Let me join my colleagues also in confirming that the current developments in the Eastern Partnership really require a stronger strategic vision, adequately updated incentives, and better reflection on the security challenges. In my experience, and I've been dealing with the EU for quite some years, this is the most prepared and intellectually prepared summit of the Eastern Partnership. The discussions, reflections take place almost daily within different forums. So, and this is also confirmation that the Eastern Partnership needs a little bit of rethinking. In my view, we need to answer two basic questions. What for and how? And in this regard, the summit in a week should really give this strategic impetus, answers to those two questions. We indeed need engagement on both sides, and paraphrasing, I would say that engagement without prospects of marriage doesn't mean a lot. In our view, it's also, I'm repeating or reiterating, paraphrasing the previous comments of previous speakers. We would like to see the welcoming of our European aspirations and European choice. It's hard in these circumstances. It's hard to argue that we are different. We have different expectations. We have different goals. And the differentiation and more from principles is kind of in the DNA of the initiative. Having understanding of this strategic importance, we formalized the TRIO initiative. It was already mentioned today, and we would like the EU also to welcome this initiative as such. This initiative is focused not only on our relations with the European Union, but also on the relations between us. We have association agreements, we have DCFTA, and we have a lot of experience to share and to learn from. On some points, we are quite advanced. On others, we would like to learn from our colleagues from other countries in different spheres. So it's also a tool of communication. We presented this initiative in June. Our ministers discussed it at the ministerial meeting on 15th November. At the late November, our prime ministers visited Brussels. So we are engaged in quite intensive dialogue. Then we would like to EU to consider closer and gradual integration of association partners into the EU internal market. This process, it could deliver by itself. We are getting closer, and by adopting the EU rules, we signed the association agreements, and we decided and agreed, committed to establish common regulatory space. Without without integration into the EU market, this space would be incomplete. Also, just very visual example is our energy dialogue with the European Union and extension of gas contract in 2018. We agreed to conclude this contract on the basis of EU rules and EU regulations. And this approach helped us not only to conclude this contract with Gazprom, but also to carry through several political processes in Ukraine, elections, parliamentary elections, presidential elections. So this approach works, as it is very easy to explain what are the rules and what are the regulations, and what are the expectations. And I cannot omit the security dimension. Indeed, we are having this discussion in a very challenging geopolitical context. And if you look at the joint communication from last year, it's titled Eastern Partnership Policy Beyond 2020, Reinforcing Resilience and Eastern Partnership that Delivers for All. So the resilience is in the title, and there are a number of challenges we need to be resilient to. We cannot postpone them until later. We need to deal with them at the same time and in parallel. And we see that our region clearly faces several of those challenges, which are aggression against Ukraine, numerous protracted conflicts in Eastern Partnership countries, COVID pandemic and its new wave, energy, migration crises. We suffer from daily hybrid and cyber attacks, and this list is far from being extensive. My minister, during his visit to Brussels, stated three major points in this regard, and I can only repeat them. First, we need to stop doing business or imitating business as usual. We have numerous meetings, summits, etc., discussions on how to preserve the Eastern Partnership as it is, while not responding to these pressing challenges as we have. Second, we need to also stop looking through relations between the European Union and Eastern Partnership countries through the prism of relations with Russia. Let ourselves define where are we heading to and what are the goals of our relations. And third, and I already mentioned that, is that we need to finally initiate really strong engagement between the European Union, its member states, and Eastern partners willing to do so. This will really to help us in resolving the crises that we jointly face, like pandemic, energy crisis, migration, and whatever life brings us next. I stop here. I thank for the attention and happy to answer eventual questions.
Thank you, Mr. Andarak, very much. And I particularly would like to emphasize on the critical approach you have to the development of the initiative. Critical in positive term, because it is the recipe to find the best way for further development of the Eastern Partnership. And you mentioned also security, and I would like to come back to this issue after we'll hear Mr. Plamen Georgiev and his remarks. Mr. Plamen Georgiev is a special coordinator for the Eastern Partnership at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Bulgaria. And I would like to see how the future of Eastern Partnership is seen, at least from the perspective of Bulgaria. And probably he'll disclose some more information about the preparation of the upcoming summit. So, Mr. Georgiev, floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Good morning to everyone. Allow me first to congratulate our colleagues from the associated trio and to commend their remarkable efforts that they put on to enhance the work in their countries over the reforms, to strengthen democracy, and to go ahead with the deep and comprehensive free trade area. I hope the online connection is good and you can hear me. Could you?
Yes, we do.
Yes, okay,
we
great.
Can hear you very well.
Great. Well, as you know, our country stands from the very beginning amongst the firm supporters of the Eastern Partnership initiative. And our participation on December 15th this month in the summit is strong evidence of this unwavering support. And I would like to say that we regard this whole initiative as a very, very important platform for a mutual and for beneficial cooperation with our partners to promote their stability, prosperity, the democratic reforms and the good governance, but also the green economy and many other achievements of the European Union. So there have been more than a decade since the launch of the Eastern Partnership Initiative. And for that time, we can clearly see that it brought us together, the EU and our partners. And many new opportunities arose for further and transformational change in their societies. Therefore, we believe that this initiative should remain high in our common agenda, especially in the context of all current pandemic and security challenges that we all face today. We believe that it is of utmost importance to have the upcoming summit to extend a very strong and a positive message to all our partners and not only to the countries beyond. Therefore, we would welcome an adoption of the joint declaration we all work over, and to have it to reflect the progress of our partnership and to reflect our mutual commitments for developing our strategic and ambitious relations in the future. As we live in I would say, challenging times, it would probably require to take adequate actions today, and that is to enhance the resilience, our resilience and the resilience of our partners. It is very important to strengthen their democratic foundations and to implement the good governance, the rule of law, to promote the gender equality and human rights as well. We would stand ready to support our partners in this endeavor, and we hope it will lead to definite benefits, as my colleagues previously spoke, for the local societies. And we hope to have their countries come closer to the EU partners. I can add that we support the post-2020 two pillars agenda with its good governance and investment principles. It's very important to build solid democratic societies, to have green and digital transformation, and to facilitate all post-pandemic economic recovery that we all need, but in a way that it would bring no environmental degradation in the societies of our partners and both the EU. Of course, the cooperation in the security area would be another key component and to strengthen our mutual resilience, to better counter the cyber and the hybrid threats, the disinformation challenges, and to cooperate in the CSDP domain. We regard all the way that we have been through together so far, and we strongly believe that the Eastern Partnership should promote the inclusivity, to promote the inclusivity as an important tool to work together and to succeed together. We believe that the achievements of our partners should be duly recognized, and they should be assessed according to their own merits. The progress in implementing the reforms and achieving the progress, we believe, should be supported in line with the principle more for more. Therefore, we would welcome even more ambition from our partners, and that will be in the sake of reforming their economy, institutions, and of course to be better prepared for responding to any challenge the future may bring. We acknowledge and traditionally, support the European aspirations and the European choice of the most advanced partners from the Eastern Partnership. That's why we encourage their closer political association and economic integration with the EU. And as I said, we again welcome the establishment of the associated trio. During the upcoming meeting, we would welcome to have the meeting of our partners from Armenia and Azerbaijan. We strongly hope so. It will take place. And if this happens, we hope it will pave the way to extend productive future cooperation between them for the benefit of all the people in the region. This could substantially improve the overall security environment in the area. Here, we believe the European Union could demonstrate by this its indispensable role in this whole process. And EU should continue to engage and to closely monitor the progress achieved there. To conclude, would like to express our regret that the authorities in Minsk choose the path to confront with the EU and decided to withdraw their participation in the Eastern Partnership initiative. Regardless to that, and until they reverse their approach and return back to the initiative, we will have to continue our engagement with the people of Belarus and with the civil society in this country, with their independent media and the young people. We believe this will be a very clear demonstration of the strength of our values that we all share together. I thank you very much for your attention, and I stand ready to engage in the discussion. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Georgiev. Before opening the session, Q&A session, I would like to address the first question to you. Actually, do you think that the associated trio initiative would be largely accepted by EU as a platform for further, strengthening of the cooperation with these three countries? Because obviously there is a difference in the approaches, there is a difference in intention, and do you think that EU will reach an agreement to move forward with the three countries in the frame of associated trio initiative? Just your perspective.
Yes, thank you. Well, there is nothing certain in the European Union, as always. This is a very large platform for exchanging views, policies, and we are there to work together for achieving better results for the future. And in this endeavor, we would like very much to welcome our partners from the Eastern Partnership to work together in this. You can never say yes or no. We strongly hope that the efforts that the most advanced partners in the trio are paying every day will be duly recognized, and we very much support their efforts. Whatever they do is for the benefit of their own societies, but also stands as a very good example how things should be done. And we would very much like to see the reforms in their countries to continue to deepen, and it will be a very nice thing to have them as a part of the internal market. Therefore, we would welcome all their efforts, and we stand to support there.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm particularly glad that my country supports the initiative. Absolutely. And the closer, cooperation with this trio. Now, I would like to invite you to share your comments or ask questions. You can signal me by raising a virtual hand, as I said, or type the question or comments in the chat. But frankly speaking, I would prefer to have live discussion. So just raise a hand and take the floor. I see Salome Kidze would like to join the discussion. So yes, please.
If possible, thank you very much. Just maybe just an observation from my side regarding your question on acceptability of the trio, let's say, and to share with you, in the beginning, before forming officially the association trio, we, since the signature of the association agreements, we jointly had joint initiatives or joint letters or joint statements. But with the time, we saw ourselves that there was need for more comprehensive and more coordinated cooperation among the three of us. So the grouping of us happened naturally. That's what I want to say. And as for our observations, when we approach the member states, and of course Bulgaria among those, what we see when we started to approach the member states, in the beginning, we saw that there was more skepticism regarding the association trio, because some member states thought, oh, this is maybe something, an artificially created group, another group within the group of Eastern Partnership. So it's understandable. It's quite logical, and it's understandable that there was this fear. But definitely, I think we have shown through our deeds and through our interactions between the three of us as well, because behind and along the political statements, association trio, which sounds very good, of course, there is also a practical dimension to it, because the three of us, we are sharing, in fact, very difficult reforming agendas, and we're having challenges on this path. So we definitely want to share with each other our experiences, and we ourselves are holding regularly, and let me tell you that I'm having daily cooperation with my colleagues in Ukraine and Moldova, really daily cooperation with them and consultation with them, and we have agreed to have sharing experience in the spheres of the digital, energy, environment, home affairs, judiciary, and healthcare. And these are the areas. So, I mean, it's obvious that we need more cooperation and among each other. So nobody could tell us, I mean, you should not cooperate among each other. I mean, I think this is not fair. I think it's also not fair to tell us this is artificially created group, because I would disagree with it. This is a naturally created group, because we ourselves, and I personally, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is for inclusivity as well, because we think it's very important to be in one group along with Belarus, along with Armenia, Azerbaijan. Of course, it's very important to be with them together with the EU, because that is a matter for us, not only for participation in certain projects, but also this is a matter of national security interest for us. So we're also for inclusivity, but at the same time, it's very important to underline differentiation principle as well, and to see a fait accompli. I mean, you can deny it or not, but it's already there. Association, the trio is there, and we're cooperating among each other, and it's only fair that the EU has more cooperation with us across many fields of association agreement. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I fully understand this position, and I fully support, and I can guarantee that you have full support from think tank community on that. Your country should not be taken hostage of other factors which are external. Okay, I see Ms. Tamara Leoashvili, the ambassador of Georgia to Bulgaria, asked to join, and after that, Vitaly Moskalenko, ambassador of Ukraine to Bulgaria. Please, Tamara Leoashvili.
Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Georgia, where I am on my short holiday, but I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to be part of this very timely discussion. I agree with my colleague Salome, who said that this associated trio is a very timely initiative, and I would also call it a very bold move from the associated trio members. And I think that such discussions like today's will help us to raise awareness and have an opportunity to share information, and also give us sort of a little more idea on items where we can cooperate, when we can share know-how. So I think just the opportunity that you have given us, Jordan, through your platform is a wonderful way to spread the word. And I just would like to thank you for that. And this is not the first time we have cooperated and had a very interesting discussions. And I hope that we can continue and maybe make it a quarterly occasion where we can just have this virtual roundtable discussion and share ideas. So I just want to express my gratitude and thank you everyone for joining us and sharing your ideas.
Yeah, sure. You can rely on our support. We have an excellent cooperation, and of course, we have to build on that. I think that it is very important that public support is needed for this initiatives, and to be how to put it, more easily accepted. I think our Ukrainian colleague actually started with this, that they have huge support from the society, which is extremely important. So yes, we shall work and present these ideas to the public and of course to the decision makers. Mr. Vitaly Moskalenko, you ask the floor.
Good afternoon to all. First of all, I would like to thank the Embassy of Georgia in Bulgaria for this remarkable initiative and their efforts in organizing this roundtable. And let me add a few words in general. First of all, I would like to underline that the recent years we have faced new challenges globally and in our region, new problems and threats. So we have to develop new strategies, to form new alliances, and to shape new foreign policy approaches to streamline our European integration. I think it has become a well-established fact that the Eastern Partnership is not what it used to be. In particular, I think it will be fair to say that there is no such things as the so-called post-Soviet space anymore, considering that the civilizational cleavages between groups of the countries are getting deeper. Today, flexible supplementary regional alliances such as Lublin Triangle, Associated Trio, Quadriga, and the Crimea Platform are gaining greater importance, primarily due to Russia's aggressive actions, and become more effective than the established old ones. They unite like-minded states around very practical tasks and steps in their respective regions. Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova form a very natural alliance in our region, given their clear common position. Our three countries are an integral part of Europe. They established political association and economic integration with the EU through the association agreement, and they express the aspirations towards the membership of the European Union. The events of past few years, even the last months and days, forced us to focus on the strengthening stability in our region, ramp up mutual resilience to challenges and threats. This is true both for countering Russian aggression and its hybrid warfare in Europe, gas price manipulation, fighting the pandemic, natural disasters, or jointly rescuing our citizens in the conflict zones. We are expressing our sincere hope that the results of the Eastern Partnership Summit in December will meet the needs and expectations of the EU associated states and will open to the most interested and committed partners new cooperation horizons. And last, my words, we are convinced that the Eastern Partnership needs strategic renewal. It's necessary to set ambitious goals that take due account of the European aspirations of the Eastern partners and the potential to have a deeper relation with the European Union. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, Ambassador Moskalenko, for this remarks. Let me look at the screen and see if somebody else would like to join the discussion. Yes, please, Marin. Just unmute mic. Yes.
Dear colleagues, dear Mr. Pozhilov, Excellencies, I'm Marina Magurchan, Third Secretary of the Embassy of Armenia in Sofia. I have more of a remark than a question. I wanted to say that Armenia was one of the first countries to join the initiative, and we all have always stressed that the inclusiveness and resilience of the partnership are important in sense of its continuity. We highly value the comprehensive and enhanced partnership agreement that entered into force this year on the 1st of March. And we are consistent in our position that merit-based differentiation and more for more approach should be further reinforced and accordingly reflect the implementation of the reforms by the partner countries. In this context, I would like to note the position of the Republic of Bulgaria that the achievements of the partners must be recognized and more for more principles should be applied to stimulate them. And we believe that this principle can contribute to the further consolidation of the partnership. At the same time, in our position, internal divisions might be threats for the inclusivity of the initiative. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for sharing your perspective. Of course, it is important to have positions of all participating countries. Because I don't see any question, I have one, and I said before that I would like to discuss a little bit more security and hard security issues. Just 2 days ago, Sofia Security Forum held its biggest annual conference on the transatlantic link, and one of the issues we discussed was the EU strategic autonomy. This desire of Europe to develop capabilities in defense and security and participate more actively in solving different security challenges. So, of course, we discussed that for that end, EU needs common assessment, you need common approaches, mechanisms, capabilities. And in this respect, we also discussed the issue of partnerships as one of the mechanisms for the implementation of this ambition of European Union to be a global player. So from one side, the strategic compass process is kind of inward looking for the EU, how EU look at itself, what mechanism EU want to develop, what issues EU would like to be get involved in. But what about the other side? What about partners, with whom you should work? And with this regard, my question is, and we discussed actually briefly during the conference with some think tankers, European think tankers. But do you see? And it's mainly question to our participants from partner countries. Do you see Eastern Partnership as an initiative which can deal with really hard security issues, being Transnistria or territorial integrity of Georgia and Ukraine, or relations between Armenia and Azerbaijan? Do you think it is suitable, or you should develop other mechanisms? Shall we keep Eastern Partnership, as a platform for cooperation, to bring closer these countries to EU for development of the societies, or we shall put in the agenda hard security issues, because I will come back to Mr. Georgiev. He mentioned security actually in his presentation, but he mentioned, he opened brackets after mentioning security, saying hybrid issues, cyber security, CSDP, etc., etc., etc. So my question again would be: do you think that we shall put in the agenda, in the future agenda of Eastern Partnership, hard security issues, and do you think that this could be a good mechanism, or we shall think about something else? And it will be actually a contribution to the EU strategic compass discussions. Who will start with?
If I may, I will, or Salome, just I didn't see that you also raised a hand. Okay, I will briefly continue.
Go ahead, Mr. Kulba.
Eastern Partnership was not initially created as a framework for conflict settlement. And each of the conflict situations that you have mentioned has its own mechanism for the settlement, or which should lead us to a settlement. At the same time, we saw in the recent communications prepared by the EU institutions that the EU proposes itself to have a kind of more consolidated approach towards conflict settlements. And we do understand that this approach means more soft security approaches. In our case, it will be confidence building measures, because this is in the spirit of resilience and recovery that is promoted within the Eastern Partnership framework. And here we see a good scope for cooperation. That's why I mentioned cyber hyper threats, but also cooperation within the CSDP format, and strengthening what can we do together to improve the general overall security climate in the region that will be to the benefit of all of us. As for very concrete situation, the Eastern Partnership has not been conceived as a conflict-solving mechanism, and we should perceive it as such. We will see where the future will lead us. We will use, of course, all the opportunities this initiative offers to us to consolidate our resilience as a society, as states, and enhance our cooperation with the European Union along these lines.
Okay, thank you. It was very clear. Ms. Kidze, what is your opinion?
Yes, thank you. I share in a way Daniela's position that Eastern Partnership was not created as something as a mechanism for conflict resolution. I wish it had more leverages as a whole, because it has a whole approach towards the region, and I wished it had more leverages and more instruments to tackle the hard security, but it does not end up. And so, I mean, even if I say that it's good that it has, I'm not sure whether it will be able to implement and effectively use this instrument. Therefore, there is also bilateral track in the relations of the partners with the EU. For example, we had just recently, this year, I think, we had a visit of the foreign ministers on behalf of the High Representative Borrell. Ministers visited Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. I think it's very important to have more engagement of EU in the region. They have to come, of course, they hear from our embassies through the news. I mean, they know what's happening in the region, but the different stories when they come to the region and they see with their own eyes what's happening in the region. And for us, it's very important that this trend continues. And it's also very important that the EU keeps this conflict, keeps the conflict of Georgia, Russia at least, very high on its agenda. You mentioned the strategic compass. And we know that today it is under the discussion with the EU, but I wish that we were also part of the discussions, because security is something which has no borders, and especially in the 21st century. We're not in the 20s, we're not in the 19th century. And today, more than ever, without borders, security matters. And if you're having a non-secure situation in the neighborhood of EU, be assured that you will have a non-secure situation in the EU very shortly. So we want to be part of these discussions, but if we're not a part of these discussions, at least to have somehow to have it and reflect what's happening today in this region, across the Black Sea, in the strategic compass. And also, it's not about security, it's about a broader form, it's about the conference on Europe. You know that now there is the conference in Europe is ongoing, it's a 2 years process, and it's not fair, if you ask me, that we are not part, Eastern European partners, we're not part of this process. Even the candidate countries, they are not part of this process. And I think we should be, because this is about the conference on Europe, future of Europe, and not even of EU. And Georgia is a European country, and we definitely want to be part of those discussions as well. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I agree with you. By the way, during Bulgarian presidency of EU, it was in 2018. Actually, it was our organization which proposed to include Western Balkan countries in the discussion on the matters related to the security, especially when you discuss security of the Balkans. Yeah, it will be interesting. And by the way, I would like very much to see a unity within European Union on all these issues, and to see unity in finding, common assessment, common approaches, and to see EU more active in dealing with different challenges. Which most probably won't be that easy. I see Mr. Roman Andarak would also like to join this discussion and add to that.
Well, yes, just a couple of points. First of all, I'd like to thank Salome for raising this issue of the future of Europe. The conference is called really the future of Europe, not the future of the EU. And the Eastern partners, candidate countries, potential candidate countries, they are missing elements in this process. Ukraine has voiced several times that we would like to participate, but nevertheless, we could voice our positions at different forms. As regarding your question about security, hard security, whether the Eastern Partnership is fit for that, there is no simple answers to complex questions. The security challenges are different from military threat on our eastern borders to food safety, food security, to health security, etc. And we need to use all available tools we have at hand to mitigate threats and to cope with crises. So I think that for some of them, the Eastern Partnership as an initiative is quite fit and could be used for that. CSDP was part of the Eastern Partnership initiative for quite a long time, so there is already some discussions in that regard. And some work done. Finally, I think that the success of some of the Eastern partners are probably the reason, one of the reasons of the current escalation around Ukrainian borders, as we believe the Russian regime sees that Ukraine and Moldova and Georgia, they further drift away from Russia, from their narratives. and successful Eastern partners are not in the interest of Moscow and their totalitarian regime. So I think that the further success on this regard, further advance in reforms and further rapprochement are the best answer, one of the answers to those challenges.
Yep. Thank you very much for this comment. Let me see if someone else would like to comment on this or add another topics to our discussions. I would also challenge Mr. Plamen Georgiev to step in and comment or share his views how security issue is seen from the position of Bulgaria, or you can probably disclose some more information about the discussions going on in different formats, how security issues to be implemented or addressed somehow, because without addressing security issues, I'm afraid Europe will lose some of its relevance. Not Europe, European Union in this case.
Yes,
Mr. Georgiev?
Thank you, Mr. Buzilov. Thank you all for sharing your views. First, let me take the advantage to answer to the question posed by Ms. Magrachan. The more for more principle, yes, inclusiveness should be promoted, and our view is that we should go with the principle more for more ahead. That's a very important principle to promote the reforms and to encourage our partners to do their best for their own sake. My view is that the Eastern Partnership as a philosophy should not be directed against anyone. And this brings the necessary flexibility to the whole initiative, shapes it as a very genuine platform for cooperation, for fostering reforms, democracy, good governance, and making the countries overly resilient and more stable than they might appear nowadays. So the achievement in all of the above and beyond, I believe, should be duly recognized in all our partner countries and should be supported exactly according to this more for more principle. I believe this is my answer. And with regard to the hard security topic, I'm not sure whether the Eastern Partnership platform is well suited to accommodate such endeavor. Of course, as our Georgian colleague mentioned, we never know where the future might bring us to. But for now, there are no substantial instruments to use them within this initiative on that domain. And for now, I believe we should keep the initiative as flexible as possible, therefore as vital as possible, for the sake of promoting again the necessary reforms in our partner countries' societies for their own, as I said, sake. This will bring them closer to the Union. This will make the whole EU and beyond area more homogeneous in a wide sense. And this will create the necessary resilience for the societies of our partner countries that they are in most of. It is mostly needed for them with regard to all the challenges that they're facing, because the challenges are not only economic, they're not only epidemic, they're hard security challenges, but the resilience is one very strong answer to that question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Georgiev. So we'll probably have to see where the strategic compass will bring us to, what will be the ambitions of the EU regarding the security challenges in the close vicinity of the Union, and through which mechanisms and capabilities EU will participate in solving these issues. As we are, and by the way, resilience, of course, it's one of the key approaches for more secure and sustainable societies. Yeah. Okay. As we are closing, as we are going close to the end of this discussion, I would probably like to invite our speakers to take just 1 to 2 minutes to share the views, how they see our topic through today's discussion or after today's discussion. Are you more optimistic or more pessimistic? So let's go again as we started with Ms. Salome Kidze, after that Ms. Daniela Kuzba and Roman Andarak.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, and I use this opportunity to thank you again for this discussion today. And after today's discussion, let me tell you that I'm more realistic rather than optimistic or pessimistic. I'm just realistic now, really looking forward to the summit, what it delivers, and I'm really hopeful that the partnership as such will manage to remain, not only remain, but it will remain as adequate mechanism, as an adequate policy, so that it will be interesting for everybody, for all its partners to be part of it, and not just be in the partnership because, you know, this is just a policy and we have to be part of it. We want to be, we have to be willing to be part of it because it has to bring something to us and we should be bringing something back to it. But in order to achieve that, it has to be adequate with our expectations. We should be also adequate with the expectations from the EU side, but also it should be adequate with the developments in the region. And it should not be guided by what has been agreed 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It should be looking on a day-to-day basis what's happening in this region and undertake a relevant decision. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Kuzba.
Thank you indeed once again for this initiative. It was a very good discussion, and it gave us a refreshed flavor from Sofia on your country's position. Thank you very much for the position expressed by Mr. Georgiev from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bulgaria. It is really important for us to have once again your support expressed to this partnership and to the more for more principle. I agree with Salome. Realism is very important. And for us, realism would be a realistic approach would be an approach anchored into the reality. And the reality speaks in favor of both differentiation and inclusivity, of more for more. And indeed, we have not to shy away from really building on what is in progress and aim towards progress. For us, the development of the Eastern Partnership means that with every important meeting, and in this case, we speak about the summit, we make a step forward. We acknowledge what was done so far, and we build on that, and not just trying to find sometimes less common denominators. For us, it's important that all the partners are on board. And where we have progress, it has to be perceived as a spillover effect, as a way that shows how all of us, EU and all the partners together can achieve progress and can move on with reforms, with new initiatives, and with coming closer to the EU to the extent each of the partner perceives this rapprochement.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Andarak.
Yes, from Kiev, I can see that we are all kind of synchronized on the subject, and it makes me happy. With TRIO, we clearly demonstrated during today's discussions that we share the same objectives, the same expectations from the summit. All of us, we see that we face the same challenges. And in this regard, I also very grateful to Bulgarian side, to you, and to Mr. Georgiev for supporting our approaches, supporting our positions. I think it's a really good contribution to the success of the summit we are going to have in 1 week.
Yes, thank you very much. I think, Mr. Georgiev, that this conference generated a lot of ideas and produced a lot of messages, and I do hope that they will be used during the preparation of the Bulgarian position to the summit. And I really hope that Bulgaria will be a real ambassador for strengthening the EU, the Eastern Partnership as such, but also strengthening the relations between EU and, of course, the countries which are willing to go deeper and develop further these relations.
Absolutely. Thank you very much all for your kind words. I commend everyone, especially the countries from the associated trio for their genuine efforts. I would like also to encourage our partners from Armenia and Azerbaijan to move closer to this whole approach, and if possible to work even harder on the mutual agenda. I hope that the declaration will be adopted. It will be strong, it will be vocal, it will be ambitious as possible, because we are all together in this endeavor. Therefore, concluding my remarks, I'd like to thank Mr. Burjilov for organizing this online event. It was very useful for everyone, I hope, and allow me to extend my best wishes to everyone for having wonderful holidays, and everything the best to you and to your countries. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Georgiev. On this very positive note, I'm closing this event. But first of all, I would like to express my gratitude first to our speakers, Ms. Salome Kidze, Director General for European Integration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Georgia, Ms. Daniela Kushba, Director General of the European Integration Directorate of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and European Integration of the Republic of Moldova, and Mr. Roman Andarak, Deputy Director for EU and NATO and Head of Unit for Political Cooperation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Of course, my gratitude to Mr. Plamen Georgiev, Special Coordinator for the Eastern Partnership at the Bulgarian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Of course, I have to thank ambassadors of Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine in Bulgaria, who's contributed very much to having this event happen. Ms. Tamara Lilashvili, Viktor Moskalenko, and Anatoly Chebuk. I do hope that we'll continue our discussions. Sofia Security Forum will be glad to host more events like that. I hope that this particular event is a clear contribution to the preparation of the upcoming summit. And of course, I would like once again to thank you all for your participation and wish you very, very happy holidays. Once again, thank you very much and see you soon. Bye.